Well, I was just over here reading some comments on my old video about installing a printer in Arch Linux, and it seems the procedure has changed a bit. That means my video was putting out erroneous information. Let's fix that. Well, howdy folks, and welcome to another episode of Vern's Misadventures. In this one, we're going to redo a video that I posted in 2019 involving installing a network printer in Arch Linux. The procedure has changed some, as pointed out by a couple of viewers. So, without further ado, what we have here on your screen is a freshly installed virtual machine. Installed this fresh Arch just a few days ago, so it should be pretty current, at least as of October 2021. So this is Arch Linux with the latest version of the Gnome desktop, I believe. So here we go. So all I've done to this so far is install Firefox and NeoFetch. So other than that, it's a fresh, clean installation. Alright, well, let's get started, shall we? So, first thing you're going to want to do before you get started, now I didn't mention this in the previous video, so this is great, we get to add this on. First thing we're going to want to do is synchronize our package database. So you do that by sudo pacman -syy. And rattle off your password. With that out of the way, we can go ahead and install our software. So the software we'll need will be, you're going to need cups, gutenprint. Now, if you look at the Arch Wiki involving cups, you can see that there's other drivers available, and because I have a Canon Pixma MX340, gutenprint is the right printer driver for me. However, if you want to read the wiki, which I'll leave a link to it in here, it may point out a better or a different driver for your specific machine. But since I don't have access to your machine, I'll do it for mine, and you can basically get an idea of the procedure. Alright, so we're also going to install cups PDF, GTK3, print backends, oops, and nmap. Now nmap is a tool we're going to use to find our device on the network to identify the IP address. So that should be everything we need, although we could add also net tools. So let's see if we get any errors from this, because it's been a while since I came up with these procedures, and let's see if how much of it's still accurate. What did I forgot to put the -s. Here we go. Pacman -s. There we go. Now it should work. Solving dependencies. Okay, yes. Alrighty, looks like that's done. Let's go ahead and we'll enable the cups service. And to do that, we simply write sudo systemctl enable cups.service. And then we can start the same service, so we'll just use the up arrow. And we'll come over here and we'll change enable to start. And that should do it. Now we got to reboot. So at this point we will just do sudo reboot. So let's get our terminal out again. And we'll make it full screen. Increase the font size so we can all see. So next thing we can do is to find our own IP address. So we can use, because we installed NetTools, we can use ifconfig. So that gives us that. Now the other way, if you didn't install NetTools, is to use IP address show. So you just say IP space AS, or you can type out address show, but you don't have to. So this being a virtual machine, I've got kind of a weird IP address here. Actually, I think before we continue any further, I'm going to make a change to the virtual machine here. Let's go ahead and power off the machine. Alright, now we'll go into settings. And let's see, under network, you see how I've got NAT selected now? I'm going to go with a bridged adapter. And that will give it its own unique IP address, and that might work out better for us. So let's see what happens when we run this again. I think I'll go ahead and leave this in the video just because it might help you if you're actually doing this with a virtual installation. Alright, well let's see what we come up with this time. Control Shift plus 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 plus. So let's run ifconfig. Oh yeah, now we're on the network. Now that's more like what I would have expected. So okay, looking at this here, this would be the ENP0S3. That would be my Ethernet adapter, and then your iNet. So this is your IPv4 address, and this is your IPv6 address. We're going to go with the 4 for now at least. Now look at here, I want to show you something. This is, you see how it shows an address here, 192.168.0.13 for this computer, and with a net mask of 255.255.255.0. So these are decimal numbers, and what these are, each of these is 1 byte, 8 bits, and since you have 8 times 4, you have 32 bits. So how you're going to represent that in short form, right, is in binary form. You see how you have a 0 here? So before this 0, you would have 24, because each of these 255s is all ones across all 8 bits. So you have 8, 16, 24. So you have 24 consecutive ones before there's a 0, right? And that's gonna, the only reason I mention that is because when we get ready to do nmap, that's going to come in for a shorthanded representation of our subnet mask. That's the best I can explain it, because that's the best I understand it. Okay, so let's go ahead and run nmap to find our printer on our network. We're going to go sudo nmap. Okay, and then it's dash small s large P capital P, and then 192.168.0, and then instead of putting my actual IP address, which in my case here is 13, I'm going to put a 0/24, and that is just for the net mask there. Okay, and we're looking at 24 consecutive ones in binary. So we press enter. Oh, so you probably caught that, but I was talking and didn't, so I mistyped that. Let's Let's put a 9 there this time. No wonder it was taking so long. Here we go. So, let's look at this. We'll go over how this is laid out, okay? So, let's see here. So you have nmap scan for this IP address. And this shows your host is up. And then the MAC address, right? And so this is the IP address for the Roku, right? Which is on the TV in the living room. And so you got your IP address and then the device down there by the MAC address, which of course, you know, which would make sense because each network device has its own unique identifier called the MAC address, the Media Access Control Address. And that's going to be unique to every device. So, if you look down here, we see we got the Canon. And since that's the last thing in the group, we see that the Canon is at 10. Alright, so 192.168.0.10. So we take that information and we'll take the terminal down here a little bit. We go to settings. Here we are. Alrighty. And in our settings, we go to printers. I'm going to unlock this by clicking the unlock button. Now this procedure is going to be for Gnome. Alrighty. So we're going to add a printer. To do so, we're going to enter our network address. And that was 192.168.0.10 and enter. Oh, there it is. Okay, so there's our LPD printer. So we'll add that. Then you select the manufacturer on the left side, Canon. Then you come over here, and in my case I have a Pixma MX340, and you don't want to forget the Pixma part because it won't work if you leave out the Pixma part. So we'll go down to the Pixmas, LM. And they're in alphabetical order, so here we go, Pixma. Now I gotta go down to where it says Pixma MX. I hope I didn't just select. No, it's okay. Pixma. Alright, MG, we're getting closer. Here we are, Pixma MX340. We'll select. And there it is. So, let's see here. We're good. We'll set that as our default printer. And let's see here, printer details. Once upon a time, they had an option to print a test page, and that disappeared in the last video I did. Printing options. Oh, here we go, test page. So it says it's printing. So I'll have to run into the other room where the printer is and see if that's actually true. As you see, there's our printer test page. Very cool. Got a little picture of Tux and everything. And that, my friends, is how you install the network printer in Arch Linux. I'd like to thank you for watching. I'll have a list of these instructions in the description, and I'll probably leave this video up until such time as I become aware and have time to do anything about the fact that perhaps the procedure may change again. But as of October 2021, this is the procedure. So with that, I'd like to invite you to subscribe to my channel if you haven't. Hey, we'll see y'all in the next one. Y'all take care.